Are you implicitly approving of jet ski ownership? Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Cruising USA.
Yeah, like,
Are
I guess
you
driving...
really saying it's okay to cruise the USA? That's my intro. I'm sorry. That was a terrible decision.
That's okay. I think that when listeners tune into Video Game Podtimism, they expect and they desire the sounds of the inside of your mouth, which is what you were delivering. So I think you were doing a great job, personally.
See, as a child, I played Star Wars Republic Commando. And upon beating the game, I unlocked the Foley artist documentary that came with the game once you beat it as an extra.
Is this a real story that
it's
you're telling me right now?
It's a real story.
Wow.
And I became obsessed with Foley ever since. So this is me throwing my hat in the ring of the Foley world right now.
Okay, sure.
With my weird plodding gross footstep mouth noises that I was just making just now. So here we go. Foley artists, hiring managers, hit me up.
What other sounds do you think you could do as a Foley artist?
Oh, I could do some creepy tippy tappy.
I'm right there. Whatever that creature is, I can hear its little leggies.
It's a creature of some sort, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe like a little. Oh God, what can I? Maybe like some wind rustling or something like that. Like something creepy on your window, and it's windy outside.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I feel it. I was transported just now.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've really been putting no effort into it, so to know that I'm already like good, is very encouraging. It's very, very encouraging.
I'm sorry to all the Foley workers in our audience. I apologize.
If there really are some of you out there, the stuff you do is amazing. By the way,
apparently a big fan on the show. It seems like.
I mean, have you ever seen this video? It really sparked interest in me as a young child. I was damn, this is a viable career path. Just like make noises, make sound effects for things with objects.
Very effective noise making. That's probably kind of what podcasting is, isn't it? Effective noise making.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily
isn't just
conversation.
Effective noise making. This is like targeted noise making.
That sounds like a podcast to me, David.
Targeted noise making.
Speaking of which, it's Video Game Podtimism. It is the Optimists video game variety show where two best friends talk about the wonderful world of gaming and apparently Foley work too.
Big part of games. My
name is Chase, and let's see, the best Foley work I can do is Falco Lombardi. Just him as himself. Some call that an impersonation, but I call it Foley work.
No, you'd have to do like Falco walking. How would you make Falco walking?
He's got like wings, so it's...
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Although,
I felt it.
Sorry, all the Star Fox fans. I know that they got their legs replaced and they're just metal things now, but I did want to do like a feather foot.
Is that a thing?
It's a thing. Apparently in the lore of Star Fox, they got their like legs taken out so that they wouldn't experience like the G-force of the plane quite as much.
Whoa.
I know. It's sort of a dark
That's
implication
kind of
of the Star Fox lore.
Wow. Okay.
The dark prequels to Star Fox go into that very deeply.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I didn't know. And I'm David.
Yes.
And I'm not a Foley artist. I'm a Foley enthusiast.
Ooh, an artisan.
I'm not an artisan, not an auteur, but an appreciator.
An amateur Foleyist.
Okay, I'll take that. An amateur Foleyist. Amateur.
David, I got a question for you.
What's up?
Have you been partaking in video games?
I have been.
Might you tell me which ones, though?
It's pretty much the same ones as last week.
Sure.
To be quite honest.
Yeah.
It's Bloodborne and it's Rocket League.
Okay, cool. Tell me about both. You're probably deeper into Bloodborne at this point, right?
Yes, I am.
Cool.
So right now I am in the Nightmare of Mensis.
Okay, you've made progress. You're moving through this game.
Yeah, I'm on I just beat Mikolash, host of the Nightmare.
Such a weird boss fight, this guy.
He was pretty easy. I don't know.
He's easy once you get to him. It's just hard to like get him in the place you want him to be.
Yeah. Thankfully, I have a bunch of stamina, so I was just like, I could do this all day, baby. Let's go. Let's run.
Wait, how did you beat him?
How did I beat him?
Yeah.
I hit him with my sword.
Did you just chase him around and hit him? Oh
Yes.
my god, David. You're playing these games so different than how I play these games.
How am I supposed to beat him? You run around and he goes into a room and then you corner him and beat the shit out of him.
Okay, wait, no, yeah. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
So there's specific ways to like. This is like a solved boss fight, right? Like you get him in that first one, you run around, push him into the room, and then you beat him up in there. And then the next one, you do the same thing, just in another room. I thought what you were saying was that you did not get him in a room. You just sprinted up behind this guy, hit him a couple times, and then kept sprinting after him.
That would be pretty amazing, to be quite honest.
Jesus.
But yeah.
I believed it, though. The way you're going through these games is unconventional.
I've looked up a couple, like, walkthrough guide type things because I had trouble in one area and I was like, okay, let's look it up. And then I just kind of got deep into some of the guides, and I guess what they would call my playstyle is Unga Bunga.
What does that mean?
Unga Bunga. It means I hit things.
Like caveman sort of
I'm
like
a big burly man.
Club.
I'm a big burly man and I hit things in a big burly way, and I just kind of go up to people and I don't give an F about whether or not they hit me. I just smack them regardless.
Are you still using the Kirkhammer?
Upgraded all the way except for the last level. Just need a blood.
I think you need the blood slab
rock,
blood rock. That's
blood
it.
Rock. Yeah.
I think you're close to one of those. I think it's in Nightmare of Mensis, like after Nikolash.
Yeah. So I beat Mikolash, and now I'm climbing farther up this giant tower. I still have no goddamn idea what is going on in this game. I have no clue. There's weird things about like babies and umbilical cords. I have like 2 umbilical cords. I have two 1/3 umbilical cords.
Yep.
I try to read the flavor text and it just whooshes over my head. I have to read it like 5 times just to understand what I'm reading.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if the gameplay is harder or ascertaining the story is harder, but they are both exceptionally difficult in their own unique ways. And this might be the most difficult story I've ever had to understand in a game, and it's by design, which is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the most difficult game I've played. I still feel like Sekiro's harder, or at least was harder for me.
Sekiro, there's no way to like grind, right? Like you can't just get more levels and do more damage. That's the big difference
that I find with Sekiro, is that you can't hide behind anything. You can't make yourself more powerful. You just your only option is to get better. And that's it. Yeah. Whereas this, you have a little more wiggle room with this one, Demon Souls and everything. But no, still having a good time. There's some places that just, make me want to tear my hair out a little bit. But you push through and then you feel good about yourself when it's done and keep going.
Damn, so you've gotten really far. Last time you had checked in, you were at Hemwick Charnel Lane or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in between that and Mensis. Mm-hmm. So you beat Rom, the vacuous spider.
Yeah. Also, are these games like the inspiration for the boss fight subreddit?
Like a lot of them are.
Dark Souls, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Someone's name, comma, some sort of crazy adjective describing
subtitle. Yeah,
subtitle. Yeah. So I beat Rom.
I loved the Rom fight. It was really hard the first time I played it, but like just the level design of it just being this like flat white plane is so like scary in its own way.
Yeah, it was kind of
especially
creepy.
Like all the boss fights up to then, like Vicar Amelia and shit like that, and all these other ones. Like the music is so loud, and you go into Rom and it's just like nothing. There's nothing going on in there.
It's
just
true.
Terrifying.
It's just like you hear Rom casting spells at you, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, that fight was fine until I just realized all I had to do was just like run past all the spiders and just beat the butt. Yep. That's the key to the game, is beat the butt.
Yeah, if you can get behind something, that's usually kind of the move.
Beat the butt. That's all you do.
It's fucking Unga Bunga means. I got it pulled up, and you explaining it as beat the butt is just all too typical.
But it's true, though. That's all. That's how you win the game. Is you roll behind somebody and you slam into their butt. That's it. That's all you do. But it's a fun game. It's a challenge getting behind them. It's a challenge figuring out where their weak spots are. 'Cause sometimes it's not the butt. Yeah. Sometimes it's something else. Yeah, I'm having a good time.
So I think it's after Rom, right? you get like that big boost of insight, and then you can like see the big monsters that are just like everywhere. That was definitely a holy shit moment for me the first time I played through this.
Yeah, I was like, oh fuck, what is going on here? It's like the nightmare is now revealed.
Yeah, exactly. Very,
So
very fun.
ridiculous. And I definitely feel like I got to a point where I just had missed a lot of things because I just started getting my ass kicked to me so hard in the next spot.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and like look like, did I miss some areas? And I definitely did. So I had to go back and grind through and beat some bosses. And now I feel like I'm properly leveled again.
Right.
Some things I'm just like, I would never have found this if I hadn't looked this up.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty obtuse in some of the places, especially the like optional areas. It's like not easy to get there at all.
Yeah, like I was just watching a quick walkthrough this guy was doing, and he was saying things about NPCs and different like factions and guilds you could be in and people's names, and like I had no idea what he was saying about anything. I was like, what? I can be a vile blood? What does that mean?
It's very weird in these games because there's like so many mechanics that you really just don't need to interact with if you don't want to. And so you'll see people online like, what? Like, wait, what is this whole thing they're doing? I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it really rewards people who dig into it, dig deep.
Which is
I appreciate
an interesting part of the game, because I think a lot of the narrative is about people sort of like seeking more knowledge and seeking more, like dark insights. And so it's interesting in that way, because the farther you deep, probably the stronger you get, but also the more your crippling Bloodborne addiction becomes a real problem.
Life imitating art classic.
Yeah.
I did spend a lot of time in bed last night on the Bloodborne wiki looking at things.
Hell yeah. It's a good place in there. I like the Bloodborne wiki.
You like the Blood wiki?
A lot of dense nugs in there for me to just kind of chew on.
Once again, a lot of things I'm just like,
Couldn't glean that.
No clue. No clue. The only little bit of story I've gotten is the first bit in the very beginning where you see the scary bloody werewolf, and then the part when you touch the skull.
Yeah, no, not much else, huh?
That's it. That's all I've gotten so far. It's two cutscenes. The rest is just like, beat the boss.
Figure it out, bro.
Kill the werewolf. Kill the giant slug thing. It's fine.
It's fine.
Are these small slug things little children that have been warped into these slug monsters? Probably.
Who knows?
Gotta
Only
get
time will tell.
Gotta get them blood echoes.
So you have 2 pieces of the umbilical cord. I think you can still get the true ending at this point.
Oh, God. Fucking shit. The true ending.
Yeah, you're not far from the end of it, honestly. You could probably beat it within the next couple hours.
Don't tell me this. Don't
just
tell
quit
me
the
this.
podcast. I'm over it.
I'm
I'm
out.
done. I need to go beat it.
Let's go.
I would say look up a guide to get the different endings at this point, because you're pretty close. And the way to get it's sort of weird. It doesn't take much more than what you're already doing, but you will have to use a couple items here and there.
I'm guessing I'm gonna need one more piece of umbilical cord, because I have two 1/3.
Yeah.
Umbilical cord.
Math would merit that you need one more.
One more, yeah.
Yeah, I think you get one from beating the something's wet nurse. There's like a boss at the top of Mensis's like tower.
I'm guessing Murgo, because I'm in Murgo's base.
Yeah, I think so. I forget the names of literally everybody in this game, but yeah, I think you get one from that boss fight.
Henrietta's daughter of the cosmos.
The fucking
wild
names, dude.
shit,
It's
dude.
so much.
Some wild shit.
Yeah, I think you'll do that, and then you'll fight. There's like a 2-part boss that you'll have to get to after you're done with Mensis's nightmare. It's hard as fuck. Not quite as bad as the end of Sekiro, but still quite difficult.
But like, what the fuck's a Mensis?
Yeah.
What the fuck's an unseen village? Why is this village unseen?
Mm-hmm.
What are these big creatures?
Gotta dig into that wiki, baby.
Why people turn into wolves? Where are the wolves from?
There are answers for these things, but I do not remember any of them.
It's one big fever dream of a video game, is what it is.
Absolutely. I think that's on purpose. Like, I mean, it's literally called there's places called the Hunter's Dream and shit like that. So I think it's intentionally a little bit just like confusing and wistful and like, it's. God,
it's a fever dream.
It's a fever dream.
It's a fever dream for sure.
There's this like theory this theory video that is online that all the FromSoft games are connected, or at least like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and Bloodborne. And the dude like definitely says I'm kind of stretching the points, but there's this area in Dark Souls 1 and 3 called the Painted World of Ariandel or something like that. Arendelle. And in it, there's this like painting lady who's painting this picture with blood. And it looks awfully Bloodborne-y. And so people are sort of like poking at that idea. Also, in the deleted audio files for Father Gascon. At some point, he says Umbasa. So
does he really?
He does. Make of that with what you will.
Do they say Umbasa in Dark Souls, or is it just a Demon Souls thing?
Demon Souls, yeah, just Demon Souls.
Just Demon Souls thing? Damn.
It's bananas.
Is Yharnam another archstone of Boletaria? The last archstones of the giants of the north?
Is video game Podtimism actually the 7th archstone of Demon Souls? Where the old one will go and thang?
The archstone to the thang? To the land of the thangers?
Renowned for their dark thanging magic.
Channeled by the applications of Instagram and TikTok.
Their thangomancy was quite powerful.
It brought whole governments to their knees.
Hey, so you're playing Rocket League too, huh?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm good. Sometimes I'm total garbage. I'm kind of in that stage right now of a competitive game. It's still fun. I like playing it. I like changing my car color and making it look cool.
Sure.
And having my girlfriend be there on the couch, be like, "Ooh, that's a cool color combination." And I feel very validated when she says that. Very
get that
validated.
cosign. Yeah.
Get co-signed by the girlfriend. So yeah, that's been fun still.
Yeah.
And also been playing with, still Jahan and Travis, and then also Eric.
Ooh, Eric has entered the chat.
Eric has entered the chat. So that's been fun to play with him.
Hell yeah.
So that's good.
It's a 3-on-3 game, isn't it? Or are you just like
can
rotating
play 4s.
dudes? Oh, okay.
It's total chaos, but you can play 4s.
Sure. Nice. That's cool.
And that's everything I've been playing.
Cool.
What about you? How many indie games have you played this week? How many deck builders? How many roguelikes? Huh?
This week, I have not played any deck building video games.
None?
None. Yeah, none.
Not even Mega Man Battle Network?
No, I have not touched Mega Man Battle Network in a little bit. I've put him down for the moment being.
Whoa.
I will tell you what I've been playing, though. I've been playing some other games. I've been playing Dark Souls 3.
Sure. Okay. Still going hard.
Which I've now beaten.
Oh, nice.
It's quite good. I liked this one. It was not easier than I was expecting it to be. I think I've just been playing so many FromSoft games recently that like I'm used to roll to the back and punch. But yeah, it's still quite good. I think the sort of like lore and story between Dark Souls 1 and 3 is really satisfying and really cool.
Sure.
There's connections that are pretty neat there. So like just the sort of lore of it was really interesting to play through. And then, it's just the last fucking FromSoft game that I'm playing right now. So yeah, this was wild. I went back because I played this kind of recently. And I got to probably like halfway through the game and I had played 17 hours into it.
Yeah.
And this most recent playthrough, I'd beaten the game in 14. So I was rolling a lot faster than the last time.
14 hours.
Yeah.
Man.
And went nearly double the places that I went before. So I think I got to stop playing this fucking FromSoft games, man. I'm getting too efficient at this.
Now's the time to replay Sekiro, right?
Oh God, dude. I can't do this to myself.
Just gotta wait for Elden Ring now.
Oh my God. Please. Guys, I'm chomping at the bit here. I'm a lost, soulless monster wandering the wastes of Boletaria. Please give me some info on this video game.
Bro, George R.R. Martin is part of this.
I just hope that they're like still building the game without him. Like maybe he gave some input on the story and they're like, well, George hasn't gotten back to us, so we should probably just keep building Elden Ring. But I don't know, man. I can't
I'll
trust
believe
you,
it when
George.
I see it. I can't trust you, George. I can't.
No.
I respect the hell out of him, and I understand.
No. I've been let down before. So yeah, hopefully they get that out. I'm dying for some more FromSoft content. The other game that I'm playing is an indie game, but not a roguelike deck builder.
Ooh, branching out.
Branching out into other genres. I'm playing Cybershadow, the new yacht games or yacht club games video game. It is pretty good. The music is phenomenal. That's like what I'm there for.
Yeah, Shovel Knight had great music.
Incredible. I don't like, there's something about the like chiptune 8-bit, 16-bit like music that if done well is just unbelievable.
Totally.
So yeah, that's been pretty good. It plays a lot like Ninja Gaiden from the like NES era, which I didn't have a ton of exposure to when I was younger. And since then I've tried to go back and play it, and it was sort of just like difficult. Like I didn't love the way the jump was handled in that game.
Crucial part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, it's like integral. And so it's, I don't know, hard to play through it when you don't love a way a lot of the game feels. But this one is a little bit better in that way, but still it's got sort of that DNA of Ninja Gaiden in there. Pretty good so far. I'm interested to see if the story goes anywhere like really wild. It's sort of still kind of leading me along down a path, but I'm not really sure if it's going to have something wild to say or if it's just going to be kind of a paint by numbers story. But either way, it's still a pretty enjoyable game.
Okay.
It is. So one thing they did was you don't really have like lives in this one. You just essentially get to a checkpoint, and then if you die, you go back to it.
Sure.
Which is really nice, because that was something that was really frustrating to me in a lot of the Shovel Knight levels, was like you had lives, and if you get to a checkpoint and then you die enough times, you'll just go back to the actual beginning of the level.
Yeah.
Which is just so punishing sometimes when like
it's tough.
You've gotten to the boss and that's really the only part you can't get over, and then you have to play like the whole level again. It's tough.
I get it.
Yeah. So it's a little bit better to be like, okay, I can just like bang my head against the wall with one of these bosses until I really figure it out, versus like, guess I gotta play through the level again. Like don't have to do that. So yeah, I'll probably keep playing it. It has gotten pretty challenging at the point where I'm at, but hopefully I'm able to up my game enough to get past it.
You can do it.
Then I'm also playing The Medium.
What's that?
The Medium is this game that came out. It's like one of the first exclusives that have come out in this new generation. It's for Xbox. It's pretty good. It reminds me a lot of like, not necessarily an Indigo Prophecy, but that kind of game, maybe closer to like Heavy Rain or something like that.
Okay.
Where the game isn't super action oriented. Like that's not the purpose of the game. And there's a lot of like interactions that you have to do, and it's a little bit more puzzle solvy than an action game is, but a lot of it reminds me, at least in the tone and just the way the game controls, is Silent Hill for a lot of parts of it. It's like it's supposed to be a scary game, and so it's taking a lot from that sort of genre.
Okay.
It's pretty enjoyable. Like it's not like a 10 out of 10 amazing video game, but I still find some cool stuff that's going on in there.
Gotcha.
The conceit is that you're this lady who's like, her dad just like died essentially. And she gets this call from like this panicked dude who's at this like old abandoned resort. And he's like, hey, I need your help. Then she's like, all right, well, I guess I gotta go see what's up with that. It's a little bit of a weird intro. I'm like,
yeah, it's a little weird.
Is that what somebody would do? But, if you can kind of get over that, it's still pretty interesting. And her deal is that somehow she has this like connection to the afterlife, literally a medium, right? And there's a lot of parts to the game where the game will have you literally split down the middle of the screen. You've got both the real world and like this ethereal world that you're controlling the same person in. Like she's moving the same way in both of them. Yeah. But like, one affects the other in a certain way. And I find it like a pretty interesting and like striking design decision to do that in like a good way, right? Like just literally the screenshots of the game are interesting. I haven't seen a game do that before. Usually with the sort of like, you've got one world that you're in over here and another one over there. They make you kind of flip flop back and forth, which does end up happening in this game, but it's interesting to have this sort of like, you can see both the real world and this like, afterlife or something that you're wandering around in.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is neat. I think the visual design's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm probably like 4 or 5 hours into that game, which is enjoyable so far. There's what I would consider like maybe missteps or some frustrating parts to play through, but it's still like pretty enjoyable. I enjoy that the scary part of the game isn't when you find a ghost all the time. Like the main character, Marianne, I think is her name. Like she's encountered ghosts and like people who are dead before, and so when she sees one, it's not necessarily like, oh my god, it's a ghost, it's scary. It's like them being there isn't the terrifying part. So I kind of like that. It's a little bit of a twist on the formula. The camera control is really Silent Hill-y and really Resident Evil-y insofar as like sort of. It's I get why it's frustrating to play through that kind of game, right? Like you run through one hallway and then you come out and the camera's in a different place, and so where you were pressing up before is now like sideways, and you kind of have to like readjust really quick. And I think they do some stuff to make that not quite as frustrating, right? But it's that can be a challenge. But I after having played this and then, played the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake, I think the camera that's in a specific place really lends itself really well to horror games.
Totally does.
Yeah, and like you're not really sure like what's coming around the corner. You can't really see it. There's a lot of these very Silent Hill moments where the camera's kind of following you and twisting and like coming at you at weird angles, and it just lends to the scary vibe to it all.
The loss of agency.
Yeah, no, exactly. You don't have control over it. And it's just another thing that you're kind of feeling like, this game is leading you down a path rather than you like conquering it or something.
Totally.
So yeah, I think that's pretty neat. I'll be interested to see kind of where it goes and how it concludes. And then the last thing I'm playing, David, I am making good on my promise.
Okay.
My New Year's resolution. I'm playing Death Stranding.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in it. We're in it now.
You're in it. You're in Kojima's playhouse now.
Welcome to Kojima's wild ride. It's a pretty wild game, dude. Like, I picked back up essentially where I left off. And I was just not even in this video game at all. I had gone through like the tutorial, and that's pretty much it.
Damn.
I think like, I don't remember when I was playing this, but just like the tutorial level where you have the little baby, it's like your first encounter with the BTs in this game.
Sure, the spooky monsters?
It's beached things. The spooky monsters, yeah. And like, I fucked up the tutorial in a way where I just didn't really know where to go. And I got like taken by these BTs, and the BB was freaking out, and it was coming out of the controller's microphone, this like baby crying.
Oh no.
And I was just like, I don't
traumatizing.
I was like, I don't think I can do this game right now. This was in like 2018 or something like that, whenever it came out. And so I picked it back up after having gotten through that part, and that's definitely where the game begins. And you're going on a lot more like delivery missions and shit like that, and it opens up a little bit in a way that I wasn't expecting it to. And it's really interesting. Like it's such a weird and bizarre experiment in video game design. There's a lot of stuff that is kind of traditional, especially the more you get into it. They start adding like combat and vehicles and weaponry and shit like that. But in the beginning, it's literally just walking from one place to another. And it's really interesting. Like they've somehow made it very satisfying to like
walk,
to get from one place to another. A lot of it reminds me of Breath of the Wild, especially with like the stamina meter and shit like that, and this like vast open wasteland that you're like wandering around that isn't depressing like Fallout is. It's just sort of like open and empty in a way that's still quite cool and beautiful. It's just very, very strange. Yeah, and it's got all the Kojima shit, which I'm realizing works pretty well for me. Like
Kojima shit?
I think so. Yeah, like there's like literal actual Monster energy drinks on the table, and if you drink it, your stamina goes up. And I've heard people say that in a way where they're like, it just takes me out of it so much, and for whatever reason, it doesn't for me. I'm like conscious that I'm playing a video game, obviously, but like it's just like Kojima's looking at me and winking at me, and I'm totally okay with that. I'm like, hell yeah. I like this. There's ads for like Norman Reedus's like actual television shows that are out now.
Really?
Yeah. And like just weird shit like that it's, to me, it rides this very weird middle ground of like, it's not totally, taking me out of the experience, but I'm not totally immersed either. I'm sort of this odd middle ground where I'm acknowledging that Kojima's like just putting weird shit in front of me.
Sure.
And he does this in every one of the games, man. Like this always happens in, all the Metal Gears and stuff like that, where there's just weird references and like, was that part of the game? I don't really know. So that stuff, for whatever reason, just works well for me.
It's a style.
It is really like, and I totally get that if somebody bounces off the game, I get why, right? Like that sort of stuff is very odd, and I don't know, it's like cilantro or something. I think I've heard the Into the Aether boys talk about before, where like some people are going to hate this or love it. Like it's just, you're not really sure. But yeah, thus far it's really been enjoyable. I didn't realize that there was so much like Dark Souls DNA in this game of like, once you reconnect a certain outpost, it like essentially puts that area online. And so you interact with a bunch of other people's structures. And so, when you were walking in, it may have been very difficult to get there. But then when you come out, it's like, oh shit, like somebody built a bridge here and that's really helpful. Or there's like, ladders and ropes to help you cross this ravine that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
And I find that like theme pretty effective, especially in 2021. Like, or all these people, like literally the game, you don't interact with anybody face to face. Everybody's like very scared of this invisible fucking monstrous force that's, killing everyone.
Yeah.
You're making these connections between other actual real people by them just like helping you play the game. And it's just a very surreal and odd experience. I'm excited to get kind of deeper into the story of it just because it's very early and I have no fucking clue what's happening right now.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm liking it more than I thought I was. Like that's definitely the game that when I sit down, I'm like, I would love to go play some Death Stranding and just like get up in there, see what's going on.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, all this, David, will bring me to...
Wait.
Yes.
I lied. I haven't just been playing Bloodborne and Rocket League.
You're hiding a video game.
I was hiding a video game.
What else have you been playing? Oh wait. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it Luigi's Mansion 3?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's video game telekinetic powers is it now.
How did you know?
Very odd, right?
Because the ghosts? Because we were talking about ghosts?
Yeah, I mind jumped into your head and read your mind.
Have you talked to Mallory?
No, I haven't.
But really, how did you know?
My good friend Mr. Miyamoto told on you. I was playing
Really?
I was playing Dicey Dungeons in bed, and he's like, "Hey, your buddy DB's playing Luigi's Mansion 3."
Luigi's Mansion 3. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been playing it with Mallory.
It's a great 2-player game.
I'm the goo, and she is the Lou. So
you're the Lou to my goo.
You're the Lou to my goo. That's fun.
Wait, hold on. That's my favorite Dynasty Warriors character is Lou Goo.
Lou Goo. It's just Lou Boo, but he's just Gooigi Goo. He can't get speared. He's pretty much unstoppable at that point.
Historical Chinese hero Lou Goo.
It's Lou Boo! Get out of my way!
Lou Goo. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, so you're enjoying this game so far?
Yeah, it's fun. It's really well animated. It's really a breath of fresh air after Bloodborne whenever I get to plug it in and play.
Yeah, fair. It's not a particularly demanding game. Like you can kind of just wander through and explore.
Yeah, Bloodborne's just like zombies and werewolves and this fucking disgusting thing of just corpses and heads and arms.
This is a boss made out of faces and skulls and gore.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The one reborn is who I'm referencing.
Yeah, that guy was fucking nasty.
Spooky.
Talk about trying to smack him in the butt. That was just
not a particularly hard boss, but very scary.
No, very disturbing when you come up to him. Like, they just make a big old moon, and then he just kind of
slithers out of it.
Slither plops down. Just, God, disgusting. Mm-hmm. Anyways, Luigi's Mansion. Very cute, very fun.
Yeah.
Solid gameplay. Mm-hmm. Decent puzzles. Some of them are a little annoying, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But other than that, good. Find it very funny when Mallory gets so upset when one of those elevator buttons gets eaten by like a mouse or a cat or something like that, and then we have to spend like another 15 minutes chasing it down, and then it just keeps on getting farther and farther away. She's like, "What? Are you serious?"
She wants the W.
It's great. She just wants to beat it. Yeah, she wants it. And she's like, this is bullshit. But it's fun. It's a great 2-player game.
Sick. Nice. Yeah, I had a similar experience when we played through it. We didn't play a ton of 2-player. I just sort of like watched M most of the time. And it's quite good. There's a couple levels in there that I like really, really enjoy and thought were really novel. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm interested to see when you get to those later levels, what you think of them.
All right. I'll let you know.
Hell yeah. All this, again, will bring me to my Podtimistic thing of the week, David.
Yeah.
It is. It's literally just the Final Fantasy VII battle theme song.
Why that in particular?
Dude, this song just gets me fucking going. It gets me moving. Whether or not it is the old one, the remake one, the Smooth McGroove vocal a cappella version of it, I don't care. Any of them I will take. It is so good every time.
It gets you going.
It gets me moving. I listened to this song probably like 20 to 30 minutes today at work. Like I had something that I needed to get done. I was like, I know what song's going to get me there.
You knew.
The slow build that it does, the guan 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 guan, that, oh my God, incredible. Every time I'm just like, oh, I got it. I got the power now.
That's a pretty classic song.
Oh my God. It's so phenomenal. I was thinking about this today, how well the remake played with that song too. You like, I think I'm pretty sure it's just the first mission where you're running out of the like Mako reactor and you're like escaping the people who are pursuing you. And like every time you fight, it's like playing with the theme of that song. Like it's just sort of playing around the actual song, and I'm like, come on, man, like I know you guys know this. I know you know the whole song. And then like right towards the end of it, when it's like, okay, Cloud's really in some shit, and then he pulls out the fucking Buster Sword, and it's like just crescendos with the music actually coming in and then playing the actual song. I was blown away. Just had like a big shit-eating grin on my face the whole time. Like, God damn it, this is so cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, it's so fucking good.
But when they play with expectations like that, it's good.
It's really good because they know you want it. They know you like, you've heard this song 100 times. God, dude, it's incredible. So I love that song. That's my Podtimists thing of the week.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Also, sidebar update on last week's. The very tall woman from Resident Evil 8.
Yeah.
Capcom confirmed today that she's just about 10 feet tall.
10 feet?
Yeah. So even taller than we had thought before.
10 feet? I mean, she's terrifying.
That's a very tall creature at this point. She's a vampire, so.
Is she a vampire?
I think so.
Is it confirmed that they're vampires?
I don't know.
They haven't had vampires before, so I don't know.
Maybe the monster is just that she's incredibly unearthly tall.
She's a giant.
I mean, that's scary.
Could just be a giant.
So yeah, just wanted to update last week's Podtimistic thing. David.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Yes.
no problem. Do you have anything that's fueling your sense of Podtimism this week?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but it's overly dramatic boss names.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. This is good shit. I love this stuff. In FromSoft games or not, it's incredible.
Just always when it is Rom, the vacuous spider.
Yeah.
Just like, I need to like Google vacuous for a second just to see what actually that means. Like, what are they, like you throwing out these $1 million words in the description of this boss. Like, I gotta check this out. It's just at one point it's like really funny, but at a second point it's like really cool too. It's like going so epic that it's funny and cool at the same time, which is interesting.
You're definitely laughing at it, but then you're like, damn, that's kind of fucking cool that he's a vacuous spider.
You're laughing at it, but you're like, damn. You're laughing at it because it's so fucking tight.
Yeah, no, it's definitely over the top in a way that you're like, oh, that's great. That's cool. All of them, the games are so weird and so odd. I'm always confused about like, I don't really even know who this is.
Yeah. Mikolash, host of the nightmare. Ebrietas, daughter of the cosmos.
Cool name. I like that one a lot.
That's a good one. Celestial emissary. Yeah. Was there one that's like the flames of old Yarnum or something like that? Dark Beast Parl.
There's the shadows of Yarnum, if that's what
the shadows of Yarnum, yeah.
There's like 3 dudes, yeah. There's a lot of games that I feel like are going after like parts of Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and I do enjoy that a lot of it is just like naming your boss something absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's part of the environmental storytelling, as they say.
A little bit, yeah. You're curious as to why this is their fucking name.
Why is he the host of a nightmare? Who hosts a nightmare?
In Morbid, that Switch game I talked about a little while ago, the one that was kind of like a FromSoft game, they had a lot of these. One of them was Lorn the Blind, the Lord of Loneliness.
Damn, the Lord of Loneliness.
King Cornelius, the Heir of Regret. Sick. Lady Tristana, Mother Grief.
Mother Grief, damn.
Bile Toad Putress, the Spawn of Disgust.
Oh my gosh.
Vulgus Calia, the Mass of Terror.
Oh my God.
Maestro Bibe, the Anxious Prodigy.
Bibe.
the Inquisitor Odious, the Scholar of Hate. That's fucking cool.
Scholar
That's
of
a good one.
Hate. Oh my god.
Cool. All right, yeah. Do you want to move on to our main thing?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're doing good games again.
Good games.
It's the segment where we talk about all the games of yesteryear, gush all the things that we love about them, and perhaps reimagine what they might look like today. Last week we did like literally an actual good game, like one of the best. Super Metroid. Go listen if you haven't already.
Sure did.
But this week we have another interesting one. We already did a game like this, but we wanted to touch on this one as well. We've done The House of the Dead before, but we want to touch on another light gun game called Time Crisis.
Oh, baby.
Time Crisis.
Is that how they say it? How do they say it in the beginning? Did they even say it?
I don't know. I don't think they do.
Crisis. I don't know. That's just a guess.
Your standard arcademan voice.
Yeah. David Arcademan here with another arcade voice.
Yeah, give me your best arcademan Time Crisis.
Time Crisis.
Oh, yeah, wow. I was transported to Country Club Lanes.
Did you feel it?
Yeah, I'm in the arcade. It's dark and stinky.
Can I hear yours?
Time Crisis.
Pretty good.
Thanks. Okay, so let's see. Time Crisis is a bit of an older game. So this is actually, hold on, before we get too far. I did most of the research about this one on Time Crisis 1. I imagine we'll probably talk in broad strokes about 1 and 2, being that they're very similar games.
Yeah.
But yeah, so initially this was an arcade game that came out in March of 1996. Mm-hmm. And it was developed by Namco Limited, who have done like most of the arcade games that you know. Pac-Man, Galaga, Dig Dug, Pole Position, Splatterhouse, Tekken, and like a bunch of other shit. Right? They're prolific. Yeah.
Jinx.
Nice. Hell yeah. Jinx. You owe me a video game Podtimists episode.
Okay.
Let's see. So yeah, they did a bunch of shit. And then, I found this kind of interesting that Moby Games, the place where I pull most of my information, it lists this other, group of folks who worked on something called the Namco System 22 board. There's like credits for that. And so I dug into this and it looks like this is just another piece of like a hardware, a system board, that powered a bunch of their like physical arcade releases. And a bunch of them were weird physical games like Time Crisis was. And so some of those were Alpine Surfer, where you're like, this is the arcade game where you're on a physical snowboard and you have to like move it with your legs to play the game.
That's a good one.
Aqua Jet, which is essentially the same thing, but with a jet ski. Mm-hmm. Cybercycles is another. This is one of those like motorcycle games where you're on it and you're literally, hitting the throttle and moving the physical motorcycle back and forth at the arcade. And then this other one called Prop Cycle, which is this like, in the game, you're like on this like flying machine essentially, and there's like a bike pedal and like controller in front of you, and you have to pedal to like make your flying machine go up and down in the level,
really?
And like run through these like markers essentially to play the game.
That's awesome.
Very bizarre and interesting game. And then obviously Time Crisis, which has this like light gun and then a pedal as well, which controls whether or not you're in or out of cover. So yeah, let's see. I have a review from Computer and Video Games is the name of this company. It's actually in English originally, but that did not stop me from mangling it by running it through Google Translate a bunch of times.
Excited.
So sad Joe Video was not in the list of companies that reviewed this game. So
come on, Joe.
We'll see you soon, Joe Video. Anyway, so yeah, I have run this through Google Translate and mangled the shit out of this review of Time Crisis, which at this point, now after being destroyed, reads, the game is better than Virtual Cops, better than the second Cops, but the game is different for swimming and flying. Thousands of people need more time, but cops are idea and new police. 90 out of 100. They liked it.
That ended quicker than I thought it was going to.
It's a short review. They were concise. It's not the usual meandering Joe Video treatise on whether or not House of the Dead was actually a good video game or not.
How it made you feel.
Yeah, so these folks sort of liked it.
Really compared a lot to Virtual Cop.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of DNA of I think it's actually Virtua Cop.
Yeah.
Not Virtual Cop, but I did enjoy that translation. Anyway, yeah. Do you want to tell me what the gameplay of these time crises are?
Yeah. So the most important thing is that you play these games with a light gun instead of a controller.
Yep.
A light gun is a gun-shaped peripheral that you point at the screen and can shoot. And essentially, it's like Duck Hunt. If you ever played that, there's just a sensor in it that lets you just point and shoot at the screen. So all it is shooting. Pretty much all of them are going to be on rails because of that, because all you do is use the gun.
Yep.
So it just takes you through different levels. Just shoot all the guys on screen, and you can press a button and you can take cover, which was one of the big innovations of Time Crisis. And then I saw that Time Crisis, I think it was called Time Crisis because there was a timer, and you had to get through the level in a certain amount of time, otherwise you lose.
Yeah, usually the difficulty in a lot of these games comes from you trying to not get hit. Like in House of the Dead, it's like you don't want the zombies to get to you. So, if you're fast enough with shooting them, they won't get to you, or, you can shoot away the knives that they're throwing at you or something. But by introducing the like cover thing, like you were saying, you can conceivably just hide back there for a while, right? Like you don't have to come out. And so I think they had to do something to prevent people from just sitting behind cover. And so, yeah, you're right. They added this like timer to it, which you get more time at like while you're playing it. Like if you clear like one little section, they'll add 20 or 30 seconds onto your timer. But yeah, I sorry if I'm jumping ahead here, but I think that concept is actually pretty novel and pretty interesting to like reinforce the idea that this is like kind of a frantic mission that you're going on.
Yeah.
Like you really don't have time to just like sit around and like plan and sneak or whatever. It's like shit's going to go bad soon. You got to get in there.
Yeah, because you're like international cops or something like that, right?
Right.
And you're trying to like save the princess or something crazy like that. So
in the first one, it's the president's daughter.
There you go. Essentially America's princess. So yeah, it is talking about the ludonarrative dissonance.
Yeah.
That reduces it, wouldn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, like, mechanically, the game is pretty close to what it is narratively. Like, you are literally trying to fight against time to save someone. You gotta blow people away to get there.
I'm about to punch this fourth dimension, bro.
Yeah, let me see. Are there any other mechanics or like stuff like that we need to go over?
I mean, you can like get different power-ups and different guns, like machine guns or rocket launchers or stuff like that. You can play with 2 players.
Yep.
So that was always helpful when you could do that.
Yeah.
But that's mostly it. You can like shoot things that get thrown at you. Like you don't just shoot people. You can shoot like things coming at you, like shoot open windows and stuff to get through them. But it's pretty much just shoot.
Yep. No, definitely the main verb is shoot.
Shoot.
For sure.
Yeah. Solve everything with your gun.
There is the secondary verb of cover, right? Like of, get out of the way. But, definitely the main draw of the game is shoot. So yeah, I think that's most of it. So why don't we go into what's cool about this game? Do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Cool.
I love the feel of that peripheral. That was the biggest thing for me. Was the feeling of going up and just like that big meaty like pedal that you had.
Yeah,
like
it's literally made out of metal.
Yeah, made out of metal. You can really like slam on it. This gun had a nice weight to it. It was large. It looked cool.
Yeah.
I guess arcades machines are much more about like the tactile experience that I'm finding.
Yeah.
That's definitely what kind of drew me to it at first, and is a big part of the experience because it's how you interact with it. As far as the gameplay is concerned, I mean, it was fun. It was challenging enough to like keep you interested. It wasn't just a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And it did give you like enough. It did challenge your skill enough to warrant like keeping on going, because some enemies would be farther away and you have to like really kind of aim to get them. And the different levels were good enough, and it always felt like it had good pace. Like it was never plotting. Like House of the Dead definitely plotted at some points. Whereas
fair.
this is always just like, do this, do that. Oh my god, they're throwing grenades. Now they're coming down from the sky. They're parachuting in. Now they're on jet skis. Now you're on a jet ski. Oh my god. So it's just it's kind of frantic, which I feel like fits a arcade very well.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally a dude when you're shooting telling you what to do. Once you like get down and you can fight, he screams action.
Yeah.
Or if you're out of bullets, he'll just scream reload.
Yeah. The little cues, because sometimes in the arcade you get a little lost about what's going on.
Gotta have a big dude yelling at you.
Reload.
Yeah, I think the stuff about the peripheral is definitely like cool, right? Like I think is what we were like 12, 11 at this point. And so it was pretty neat to have these like physical representations. I mean, any of these games that were in the arcade where there was a physical part of it, I thought was always really, really interesting. There's like, this game, we've talked about House of the Dead before, the like Star Wars game where you both pilot and control a lightsaber with like the stick. What is it? Not Hydro Thunder, Arctic Thunder, where you've got the fan blowing on you to make you feel like it's cold.
So ridiculous, but it's so good.
It is. And like, I think that stuff is pretty neat. I'm pretty sure it was Time Crisis 2 that had the sort of improved tactile feel where like the top of the gun would sort of like click whenever you shot. I don't think the first one did. I think it was just sort of that standard plastic, nearly pokey light gun that they had in arcades that was always slimy and covered in the hands of literally everyone who had been there.
Isn't everybody excited to go back to an arcade after coronavirus?
Dude, I was just thinking about this, like, good Lord, bowling alley, an already very like touchy feely germy place to be.
Yeah, dude, I'm going straight for the ball pit. I don't know about you.
gotta dive back in there, see what's good. Mouth
what
open.
treasures underneath here now?
So yeah, I thought that like that part of it was interesting. We brought this up a little bit with House of the Dead too, but like I think it's sort of a bummer that one of the best realized games is one where you're just literally shooting dudes, and like the closer you get to that with a real gun, the more people are like, this is cool. This is a cool video game. And so like to me, there's a certain amount of normalization of like gun usage there that I don't necessarily as an adult agree with. I was fucking 12, so like I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I think that like there's sort of an implicit normalization of violence through that I think can be a little bit of a bummer.
Totally.
In ways that aren't like, the Last of Us, right? Like The Last of Us is trying to say something about violence through its violence, but Time Crisis is just like, shoot the dudes to solve the problem, to save. Yeah, it's like,
isn't this funny and fun?
Yeah, it's very trivial and like, makes it lighter than it, really would be, right? But it's drawing a lot on the sort of like late 80s and early 90s movies tropes where like that's definitely the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like John McClane goes in and shoots all the dudes and he saves the day and shit like that.
He sure does. He's just trying to spark life back into his marriage and it just ends up killing all these Germans.
Gotta kill some German dudes about it to make your wife love you.
That sounds right?
Oh, Lord. Yeah, so I think that like that does present some interesting sort of moral conundrums that other arcade games maybe don't. Like Aqua Jet. Nobody's really. Are you implicitly approving of jet ski ownership? Like it's not that big of a deal.
Cruising USA.
Yeah, like
I guess really saying it's okay to cruise the USA?
I guess maybe driving fast, but like, there's so clearly like ways not to do that. And don't get me wrong here. Like I'm not a person who's saying like violent video games lead to violent people. I think there's enough research that's been done on that to bore that out that that's not true. But I do feel like the closer you get to like the physical representation of that, the closer it sort of like blends reality. And so I imagine it could be harder to sort of make that distinction. But like even said, after I played Time Crisis, I wasn't like, I think I should buy a gun now.
Never did I ever think about that. After playing Time Crisis, it's more like, I'm satiated. I don't need a gun.
Yeah, so
I don't need the real thing. I got Time Crisis.
I got a fun video game. So it's, I don't know. It was just worth mentioning that's sort of a conversation that I think comes up when looking at these kind of games.
No, that's totally true. I think it's a product of its time. Yeah. I don't know if those type of arcade games are as popular anymore.
Yeah, I haven't been to an arcade in a long time, truth be told.
True. I have no idea what goes on in an arcade nowadays, or if they're even popular anymore.
I'm sure you would still find some light gun games in there, but I don't like Time Crisis isn't the originator of this, and they certainly wouldn't be the last game to do this. But it does sort of bring up this topic of like, how normalized is gun violence in an arcade. I mean, in video games at large, obviously, right? Like it's everywhere. But I think the physical connection is sort of another wrinkle on that whole dynamic.
Sure, that's true.
All that said, felt fucking good to shoot the gun, dude.
Sure did. Had a good tactile feedback.
Yeah. So let's see what else. I think it's just worth bringing up one more time that like the like experiment of trying to tie the verb of the game to the player more directly, I think is really interesting. And like, you know, whether or not that's, you know, a gun or a snowboard or what was it? A cycle, a prop cycle.
Prop cycle. Yeah.
Like whether or not it's any of those, it is a really interesting experiment in that way. Cause like usually the verb of the character in the game is really detached from what you're doing as a player, right? Like swinging a sword in Shadow of the Colossus when you press square is not at all what it feels like in real life or in the game.
Yeah.
Right. Or even when they try to, right? Like with Skyward Sword or something like that, when you're using the Wii Motion Plus or whatever, it's there, but it feels really disconnected. Like it's kind of crossing into Uncanny Valley where it's like, this doesn't feel real at all. Like there's no resistance. There's not a lot of like feedback here, where with these like physical arcade games, you can get that. You can sort of like build in a certain amount of like force feedback in the games. I was thinking about the Police 911. Do you remember this game?
Is it the one where you had to stand in the cage and had to like duck down and squat and stuff, and you actually got to work out?
It tracked your motions.
Yeah.
And so it's like Time Crisis, but instead of a binary on or off in cover, you sort of like literally had to move around.
Like duck and cover. They had that one, and they had the boxing one too.
Yeah, oddly enough, they're made by, I'm pretty sure, the same company, or at least using the same technology.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, super like interesting sort of experiments in that.
I got tired playing that game as a fat kid.
It was exhausting. The boxing gloves were heavy.
Yeah.
And like you really had to move if you wanted to play well.
And they would get like warm. And they would be warm when you would take them from someone else after they had played. Yeah. So it's like, it's some dirty stuff going on in there. But no, those games were super fun. Arcade games in general, I just feel like there's so much potential, but people don't ever want to go and do it, in America at least.
There's so much more room for experimentation, it feels like. I had this this professor at college, Brenda Laurel, who she's a video game research designer, video game designer and a researcher. Clear back to like the 70s and 80s, right? Like she was doing really early work on like VR and stuff like that. She's also a fucking good teacher.
Shout out,
Brenda Laurel. A much more accomplished person than myself. She, I had taken this class where we were doing like a design research stuff, right? Like we were just working on different pieces of technology. And at some point she'd gone over this chart essentially of big leaps in technology and like different inventions and different things that sort of changed the game. And there was this lesson that she had brought forth of that like software and hardware innovations end up like pinging off of each other in an interesting way. Like when some piece of hardware innovates really hard, then the software oftentimes will like compensate for that, or like you'll get a bunch of different weird experiments. In the inverse, right? Like if you have a very weird and interesting piece of software that's pushing a hardware, then people, will oftentimes compensate with hardware, right? So like it made me think of this what is it called? The Namco System 22 board that powered all these very weird games. Where it seemed like Namco was like, okay, whoa, we have this piece of hardware that can track like tactile movement in a way that we are not used to, right? Like there's a bunch of interesting stuff and experiments we can do here. And so a bunch of their software that followed sort of tried this, right? Where, like we were saying, the Time Crisis games, the snowboarding games, the ski games, all this shit, where not all, probably won't find a lot of these in an arcade now, but some of them did take off, right? Like you'll see a lot of light gun games that are still in arcades, and a lot of them are still doing a lot of the Time Crisis-y stuff, where there's like multiple points of interaction that you're interacting with. And so it's sort of this, it made me have a better appreciation for the very weird and bizarre experiments that happen in arcade games.
I love it.
Me too.
I love experimenting.
Yeah, it's odd that like, I don't know, to me it seems like such an investment to make a whole physical rig and ship that out to a place that already isn't making that much money.
Sure.
But there's so many cool things going on here. Like I said, I hadn't seen a skiing video game before, but they like fully realized it. Probably wasn't perfect, probably didn't play incredible, and I remember those things being broken very often. But like they're swinging for the fences with that. Like what a wild thing to try and do. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of this experimentation is sort of just ended up in VR at this point, which makes sense to me, right? Like, it's a lot cheaper to, you can track a lot of movement and you can have these little controllers that kind of are a stand-in for a lot of stuff. But I was very much appreciative of how much it seems like arcade game designers were pushing themselves really hard during this time.
A little time of innovation.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I didn't really realize that because I was, fucking 10. I wasn't interrogating video game design at the time. But I was just like, ooh, damn, that's a new fucking video game. That thing looks sick.
Yeah, there's all these video games, and then there's the Cabela's Big Game Hunter that is unchanged. It's like the alligator of arcade games. It's the perfect predator already, and it's unchanged for millennia. It just never stops.
God, dude, Big Buck Hunter. Wasn't our one of our episode names Big Buck Hunter?
Sounds right. But honestly, like, do you think that it's some sort of like spy network that they all just use Cabela's Big Buck Hunter in like pizza parlors and arcades across the country to communicate with one another? Because I know nobody's going to play it. Like, have you ever seen anybody playing Big Buck Hunter?
I, unfortunately enough, have been known to partake whenever I when that's the...
Sorry, anybody who listens to likes Big Buck Hunter, your opinions are valid.
Sorry, Big Buck Hunter.
Your opinions are valid. I apologize for being a nasty boy, but you've played it.
I have played Big Buck Hunter. It didn't control very well, if I remember correctly. It's I think we made this joke the last time that it's just a money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
That crime bosses will come in and feed $1 million into Big Buck Hunter quarter by quarter.
Hey, I just love these bucks.
I gotta shoot the bucks. I gotta put in a lot of money. What accent am I doing?
I don't know. I was trying for Italian, but didn't quite come across.
Nailed it.
Failed it. Just more like it.
Big Buck Hunter is weird. It's definitely a light game that, you're right, has not changed very much since 20 or 30 years or whatever.
And Great White Shark, dude.
I wonder if there's a VR Big Buck Hunter game.
What even is Cabela's? Is it like a gun brand? Is it hunting apparel?
Let's see. Cabela's? Oh boy. It goes kind of deep, David.
Uh-oh. What does this mean?
We were making a joke. We were making a goof. Cabela's is a subsidiary of Bass Pro Shops, an American direct marketer and special retailer of outdoor recreation, blah, 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 blah.
Funded by DARPA. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, no. It's funded by the Lale Lule. Cabela's mail order catalogs are shipped to 50 states, blah, blah, blah. It also has a Trophy Properties LLC, the gun library for buying and selling used and collectible firearms. So it appears to be a gun shop.
Sounds about right.
So it seems like actually Big Buck Hunter is not a joke, but it is actually sort of a thing. Cool. They want you to play guns.
Yeah.
Dude, do we have anything else to say about Time Crisis?
It's a fun, silly game. Don't think too much about it. It's just good old-fashioned arcade fun.
You had this game for PlayStation 2, didn't you?
I did. I had the light gun.
Yeah.
For my console.
This was also sort of during a time when I feel like a lot of peripherals were becoming like a hot thing.
Oh, yeah.
This was pre-Rock Band, if I remember correctly.
It was pre-Rock Band, or Guitar Hero, Chase Please. That was the first one.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, I had a lot of peripherals for my PlayStation 2. I had that, the light gun, and I had the DDR pad, baby.
Oh, hell yeah,
I was stomping on that bad boy. I didn't dance, I stomped.
Yeah, no, you gotta really make sure those plastic things get hit. God, dude, I can only imagine the fucking smell that I was producing in like the DDR days. Like this sweaty 12, 13-year-old kid going through puberty has no idea sort of like body sort of upkeep that is required.
We played that game a lot like during the summer in my parents' house, and it would get hot in that room.
Your boy also has sweaty feet, just slapping the DDR pad. Just a sort of a wet fish falling onto a tarp.
Mm-hmm. Are we going full circle back to Foley now?
More Foley work, you say? Okay, anything else to say about Time Crisis?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. All right, your turn.
Oh, okay, everybody. We're on Twitter.
Yes.
So go.
What's our handle?
It's at VG Podtimism.
Just Podtimism.
It's at Podtimism, not VG
VG
Podtimism.
Podtimism is our email. If you want to get in contact with us there.
There we go. So we're at Podtimism on Twitter. At VG Podtimism at Gmail.
Yeah, just VGPodtimism at gmail.com. That's our thing. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, talk to us. Tell us what you're podtimistic about this past week. Tell us about
how
we could be more optimistic. We're always open to constructive criticism and
That's
feedback.
very true.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, Chase may reply. He may say something quite nice, most assuredly something quite nice. And then maybe there will be some undertones of something else as well.
Maybe some internet Foley work.
Maybe Chase will also send an attachment in that tweet of his newest Foley creation with the caption, guess what this noise is.
I need y'all to hear my demos, my mixtapes of Foley work.
Oh, that'd be good. Do I say anything else?
If you want to support the show, you can review us
on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star if you want. 5-star.
Or don't. Or just review it and say, hey, here's this fucking show.
That's true. I shouldn't be asking for 5 stars. I should be asking for your true, unfiltered, honest opinions.
Or if you want to be a corporate Podtimism shill, a 5-star. We'll pay you.
We're paying people now?
It's in Dogecoin. We'll pay you 1 Dogecoin.
How much is 1 Dogecoin?
I think right now it's like 4 cents. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it's not much, but I will give you a Dogecoin.
I mean, I laughed at Bitcoin when it was 4 cents, so
yeah. Look
who's laughing now, not me.
It's not me either. I tossed $100 in the Dogecoin pit the other day and came out with 90, so it's not a great investment.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, this looks cool.
Why Dogecoin?
I don't know. It was going up the other day. I thought I was a fucking Wall Street boy.
No, dude, you got to buy GME, AMC.
Yep. Can I just go to GameStop and buy a video game? Will that increase my money?
No. We'll do the opposite.
Yeah,
and
true.
You won't be able to stick it to the Wall Street hedge funds that way, Chase. Come on.
I'm doing a personal form of protest where I just buy video games from GameStop, and that's how I stick it to big buck hunter.
Wall Street is big buck hunter.
How far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Follow the light gun video games. Did we do everything?
I believe so, unless you have some video game wisdom, Chase.
I'll pull it together. Okay. Video games may ask you to shoot. Time Crisis may ask you to shoot. But when you play these games, ask yourself, isn't Katamari Damacy a better game than this? Don't I just want to roll up a ball? Why didn't Namco make a big ball in the arcade and let me do that instead?
It's like the reverse hamster ball.
Yes.
So instead of being inside of it, you're outside of it, just pushing it.
My God, can you imagine if they made an arcade version of Katamari Damacy?
There would be so many shoulder injuries and wrist injuries. So many people would hurt themselves, especially if it got more resistive the more stuff you pick up.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm here for it, man.
I'm here for it.
I'll go throw myself in the fucking Katamari Damacy injury machine.
That'll be interesting. It'd be an interesting one. It's like a car hits you and the whole thing just comes at you and knocks you back.
Yeah. na, break your freaking wrist.
That was also a fever dream. On the other end of the fever dream spectrum from Bloodborne.
Yeah, a nice fever dream.
Bloodborne's a fever nightmare.
Do you think the two are connected canonically?
I mean,
that once the prince rolls up all of the universe, it creates the hunter's dream.
So you need all that energy to create the hunter's dream.
The amygdalas are actually just old princes.
Oh, Amygdala, you defeated Lord Amygdala. That's all I got.
That's all I got. Okay, goodbye.
See ya.